Module 1, Video 1, we're going to be working on just some basic tonality. One of the first things we're going to be working on is, or talking about is major scales and minor scales, and so it's good for us to kind of review the ideas of parallel versus relative relationships. So let's just start out with the C major scale, just because it's all the white keys. And go ahead and play this along with me. So I like to have students work on playing these scales with just 4 notes in each hand, which is pretty easy for C major, but then when you start getting into the other keys, it gets a little more complex to make sure you're able to keep all those notes together. But the whole point of doing this is so that you can see and hear and understand this scale as one thing that happens all together rather than individual notes. So think of this as one thing. This is our C major scale, which corresponds to the relative minor, A minor. Again, all the white keys. There's a bunch of different minor scales, but when we're talking about relative major and minor, we're always using the natural minor. So this A minor scale is really just a mode of C major. It's the 6th mode of C major because it's the 6th scale degree of C major. So all these other scale degrees are modes. This is the first mode. First scale degree, first mode, Ionian. Second scale degree, second mode, Dorian. Third is Phrygian. Fourth is Lydian. Fifth is Mixolydian. Sixth is Aeolian. Seventh is Locrian. All these modes are used. Some are used more than others. We're going to focus on just a few of these modes in most of the commercial music classes, but they're all available options, and it's good to kind of understand how the modes work. For now, we're focusing on just the major and the minor. So that's our relative major and minor. But we also have parallel, which means C major, C minor. To change to minor, you have to flat 3 notes. You have to lower 3 notes. The 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th. So that's our change from C major to C minor. So we can start to really complicate things if then I'm from C minor, which has 3 flats, I go to the relative major to that, which is E flat major. So there's all these moves by 3rd, and you just have to start paying attention to which direction they're going. So from C minor to E flat major is up a 3rd in the key. So I started on C minor, the 3rd scale degree becomes my new root. Same thing can happen from E flat major to go back to C minor. You go up a 6th, the 6th scale degree, but the 6th scale degree is also down a 3rd. So you want to start thinking about it like that. I invite you to maybe pause the video now and just spend some time and play around with moving through some different keys like that. See if you can play these scales not like a concert pianist, but instead just like this, whether you're playing C major or A major. And you can either play all the notes like this, or if that helps, you can do that. And see if you can do this and find the relative major and minor between a bunch of different keys. I'm on A major, relative minor would be F sharp minor. So it gets to be easier and easier if I'm playing these notes and I can just memorize each of these notes and, you know, start moving them down. So move this G sharp down here and then move the F sharp down. I'm still playing the A major scale. I'm just changing the order of it. So it really starts to simplify things if you can think of tonalities as these collection of notes, not just the key signature like you normally would, though the key signatures in here are sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. But instead of just thinking of the key signature, start thinking of the collection of notes. So go ahead and pause the video now and take a little time to play around with that. All right, so welcome back after your little practice session. The next thing that that I want to share with you or have you work on are just some basic chords, basic triads that go with these keys. And let's go back to C major, and we're going to take the 3 major keys, major chords within this key, which are the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. These are just the major triads that are within the key of C major. 1, 4, and 5 root position triads. And let's try and do that in a few different keys, and you can do this along with me. So I'll kind of count us through, and we'll just do like whole notes each. So let's do a 1, 4, 5 chord progression in the key of F major. So starting on F. Now here's where the scale exercise that I was doing is really helpful. So you might know what the key signature of F is, a B flat, but being able to just play and understand the scale as this collection of notes. I know triads are, or hopefully you know triads are, these spaced out, you know, skip every other note. If I can do that and move up a 4th and know that I have this flat here in the key signature, I don't need to do all the math, figure out every single little thing along the way. I'm thinking modally, I'm thinking tonally, I'm thinking of the key area that I'm in, not each individual chord. So let's try that together. So F major, 1, 4, 5, back to 1. So we'll do 1 measure each. 2, ready, go. F, 2, 3, 4, B flat, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4. That's the pattern. 1, 4, 5, 1. Let's try it again. 1, 2, ready, go. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if that's a little rough for you, maybe just rewind it, try that again a couple times or practice by yourself, and do that in a few different keys. We're going to keep working on different keys, but the idea is to be working in all the keys. But focus on keys that have, 1 flat, 1 sharp, 2 flats, 2 sharps, 3 flats, 3 sharps. Just, the first, if you're thinking about the circle of fifths, which we'll talk more about, it's kind of like the top half of the circle of fifths. So let's try this in a minor key. Let's try this in A minor. So remember, we had our C major scale. And then we go to the relative minor. So let's try these triads, 1, 4, 5, and A minor. So here we go. 2, ready, go. A minor, 2, 3, 4. D minor, 2, 3, 4. Now up. Here's a little trick. We have to actually add the G sharp into this key. It's not in the key signature, But basically, you know, all the music that you're working on in your applied lessons, most of the things that we hear, use this chord as the 5 chord. There are of course, exceptions, and some of that music sounds the most interesting, but for the most part, when we're talking about a 1-4-5 progression in minor, we're going to do a major 5. So minor 1, minor 4, major 5. So try it with me again. 1-4-5-1 in A minor. 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. So go ahead and practice that in a few different keys. Next video, we're going to be adding the left hand, playing some bass notes and some rhythms to playing those chords, but I highly recommend just playing around with this just in a basic form first. Also, you'll find in this week's folder in Blackboard, you'll find a link to a web page that has the jazz chord symbols written out, the chord type, the symbol, and the notation of that. Most important for what we're doing are major and minor chords, and dominant chords will become important very soon. But focus on those. This is just kind of a reference that you can have of a lot of different chords, and there's some other information that is really useful. I think this will be something good for you to refer back to throughout this semester and next semester, and maybe even in some other classes. So take a look at that, and that'll help you understand some of the materials that we'll get to probably next week. So great. Enjoy that. Let me know if you have any questions, and have fun.